Chief Okoro was a just and fair ruler, loved by his people. He had a beautiful wife, Akua, and 2 lovely children. They lived in a beautiful hut in the center of the village, surrounded by lush greenery and vibrant flowers. But when Neoma arrived, he felt a spark he couldn't ignore. She was a stunning stranger with piercing eyes and long, dark hair. Okoro found himself drawn to her, despite his love for Akua. As he spent more time with Neoma, he began to feel guilty for his attraction. He knew he was a married man, and that his actions could hurt his family and his community. But he couldn't resist Neoma's charm and beauty. He found himself thinking about her all the time, and wondering what it would be like to be with her. Neoma's beauty and charm captivated Okoro, and he found himself spending more and more time with her. She was mysterious and alluring, with a quick wit and a sharp tongue. Okoro was drawn to her intelligence and her confidence, and he found himself wanting to know more about her. As they spent more time together, Okoro began to realize that Neoma was not like other women he had met. She was independent and strong-willed, and she didn't seem to need anyone else to make her happy. He admired her strength and her courage, and he found himself wanting to be with her more and more. Akua's devotion to Okoro and their community was evident. She was a hard-working woman, always putting others before herself. She had married Okoro many years ago, and she had never once doubted his love for her. But now, she could see that something was wrong. Okoro was distant and preoccupied, and he didn't seem to care about her or their children anymore. Akua tried to talk to Okoro about his behavior, but he just brushed her off. He told her that she was being jealous and possessive, and that she needed to trust him more. But Akua knew that something was wrong. She could see the way Okoro looked at Neoma, and she knew that he was in love with her. Okoro and Neoma shared a passionate moment, further complicating their situation. They were alone in the forest, and Okoro couldn't resist Neoma's advances. He knew it was wrong, but he couldn't help himself. He was drawn to Neoma's beauty and her charm, and he wanted to be with her more than anything. As they embraced, Okoro felt a rush of excitement and passion. He had never felt this way before, and he didn't know how to handle it. He knew that he was betraying his wife and his family, but he couldn't stop himself. He was addicted to Neoma's love, and he couldn't imagine living without her. The love triangle became public knowledge, dividing the village. Some supported Akua, while others backed Neoma. Tensions rose as the villagers took sides. Some accused Akua of being jealous and possessive, while others saw Neoma as a homewrecker. The village was torn apart, and Okoro was caught in the middle. As the villagers argued and fought, Okoro realized that he had made a grave mistake. He had hurt the people he loved, and he had destroyed his own family. He knew that he had to make things right, but he didn't know how. He was trapped in a web of his own making, and he didn't know how to escape. Neoma's lies and manipulation intensified, and Okoro became trapped in her web. Akua tried to expose Neoma's true intentions, but Okoro refused to listen. He was convinced that Neoma loved him, and that Akua was just jealous. But Akua knew the truth. She knew that Neoma was using Okoro for her own gain, and that she would stop at nothing to get what she wanted. As the days passed, Okoro became more and more entrenched in Neoma's deceitful web. He began to believe her lies, and he turned against his own family. Akua was heartbroken, and she didn't know what to do. She tried to reach out to Okoro, but he pushed her away. She was left alone, with no one to turn to. The consequences of their actions became deadly. A tragic accident occurred, and the village was shaken. Okoro realized his mistakes, but it may have been too late. Akua was hurt, and Neoma was nowhere to be found. The village was in chaos, and Okoro was left to pick up the pieces. As the villagers mourned the loss of their loved ones, Okoro finally saw the truth. He realized that Neoma had been using him all along, and that he had been a fool to believe her lies. He was filled with regret and sorrow, and he didn't know how to make things right. He had lost the trust of his family and his community, and he didn't know how to regain it. Akua discovered Neoma's secrets, exposing her true intentions. Okoro finally saw the truth, and he was devastated. He realized that he had been blind to Neoma's manipulation, and that he had hurt the woman he loved. He begged for Akua's forgiveness, but she was unsure if she could ever trust him again. As the truth came to light, the village was shocked and outraged. They had been deceived by Neoma's lies, and they had believed her false promises. They realized that they had been blind to her manipulation, and that they had enabled her behavior. They were filled with regret and sorrow, and they didn't know how to make things right. Okoro chose Akua, but Neoma refused to let go. A dramatic confrontation ensued, leading to a surprising conclusion. Neoma revealed her true intentions, and Okoro was shocked. He realized that he had been played, and that Neoma had never loved him at all. He was left to pick up the pieces, and to try and rebuild his relationship with Akua. As Okoro and Akua worked to rebuild their relationship, they realized that their love was stronger than ever. They had been through a great trial, and they had come out on top. They were grateful for a second chance, and they vowed to never let anything come between them again. They lived happily ever after, surrounded by their loved ones and their community. The village came together to heal and rebuild. Okoro and Akua worked to repair their relationship, while Neoma faced the consequences of her actions. The villagers were shocked and outraged by her betrayal, and they banished her from the community. As the days passed, Okoro and Akua's relationship began to flourish once again. They were stronger and more in love than ever, and they were grateful for a second chance. They knew that their love could overcome any obstacle, and they were determined to make the most of it. Meanwhile, Neoma was left alone to ponder her actions. She realized that she had been selfish and manipulative, and that she had hurt the people she loved. She was filled with regret and sorrow, and she didn't know how to make things right. Okoro and Akua's story served as a lesson to the village. They learned that love and loyalty are worth more than any temporary passion, and that true love can conquer even the greatest of challenges. They realized that they had been blind to Neoma's manipulation, and that they had enabled her behavior. They were determined to be more aware and more cautious in the future. As the villagers reflected on the experience, they realized that they had grown and learned from it. They had learned to appreciate the value of true love and loyalty, and they had learned to be more mindful of their actions. They were grateful for the lesson, and they were determined to use it to build stronger and more meaningful relationships in the future. Okoro and Akua's relationship was stronger than ever. They had weathered the storm, and they had come out on top. They were grateful for a second chance, and they were determined to make the most of it. They knew that their love could overcome any obstacle, and they were excited to see what the future held. As they looked to the future, they knew that they would face challenges and obstacles along the way. But they were ready for whatever came their way. They were armed with the knowledge and the experience of their past, and they were determined to build a brighter and more loving future. And so, Okoro and Akua lived happily ever after, surrounded by their loved ones and their community. They knew that their love was the real deal, and they were grateful for every moment they spent together.